We have been discovered. Our industry is now a big deal. And what I'm trying to do is raise the self-esteem of the industry. It's interesting that it's such a big industry. There is the government and ceremonial part of this. There are the meetings and conferences part of this. There's the teaching and learning part of this. There's the incentive and travel side, the weddings and celebration sides, the fundraising and galas, the premieres and openings, and the marketing and PR. And it's all morphing together. What's interesting is that just BizBash alone, this is the only sort of like promo thing that I'm doing for us, but the real tastemakers in North America are these event organizers. The buying power is unbelievable. Like BizBash planners alone, if we took all the aggregated spend of our planners, it's $40 billion. So when I write something, there's a potential $40 billion spend that's happening. They host 2 million events. They spend an average of $750,000. Now, not everyone has this kind of budgets, but a lot of people do. It's actually pretty significant, but it's not compared to some of the big companies, so it averages out. They actually touch 30 million people annually. To me, that's the most important number. We are the wholesalers of information. Events are the new town square, and we have the ability to touch a lot of people in a lot of different ways. They also book 5.5 million room nights, so the economic clout is unbelievable. And we have to realize that we can use that clout as event organizers. If you make a decision on what type of food you're going to have, you have an economic impact. If you decide which hotel room you're going to use, which hotel chain, you have an economic impact. And we don't always consider it in bulk. So we make decisions on everything, on chairs and fashion and centerpieces and technology. So the combined clout of our industry is so much bigger than what people imagine. And that this is the real interesting number, that 25% of all marketing budgets are now spent on events. Because it's no longer, I always said that it used to be that event organizers were sitting at the children's table for Thanksgiving. And now we're at the big boy table. We're actually in the boardrooms, right? We actually are. They're really paying attention to us when we're smart and we're thinking strategically, because this is how they get the emotion into what their products are. And we have got to learn how to do it right. So also, what has also changed is the whole nomenclature. The words have changed. So it's no longer event planning. I consider that we're programmers of human interaction. That's what we do. It's a great word, right? Because you have to think in the totality. From the minute someone gets an invitation, from the minute the idea even starts, to the tail, to how do you keep it going, is all part of this programming of human interaction. These programmers and software are getting paid gazillions of dollars for what we do naturally. RSVP is no longer RSVP. It's big data. We're taking all that information and we're getting tons of it and we're aggregating it and finding out who these people are. Entertainment is no longer entertainment. It's now audience engagement. You want them to pay attention, like what Ben was saying. Word of mouth is no longer word of mouth. It's amplification. The reason the event industry is so hot now is because social media and all those other devices has made it so we're not talking to the 200 people in the room, we're talking to your 17 friends and who's on social and whatever. Speeches are no longer speeches, they're considered content. Now, I don't like the idea that content and journalism are two different things now, because journalism is still journalism, and all these technology people think it's just content. Decorations are no longer decorations. I've been privileged enough to work at the State Department as a voluntold for the last 6 years. You know, when your friend gets a job and you're voluntold to help? So it may sound great, but I was voluntold. So I've been creative director for the protocol department, and we changed the word decor to educor, so that you can spend money on educor, because if you put a centerpiece in the secretary's table that has its indigenous plant from a certain place, that's education. It's not decor. And a step and repeat with an educational message is an educational tool and not decor. So that's just a little trick that works, but it actually, when you're more purposeful about things, it actually means a lot. Feedback, we know when you send those surveys out, it's really ratings, because everything's going to be rated in the future. I don't know if you noticed that, but even your Uber driver's rating you, but you're going to be rated by, it's just beginning, the whole rating thing. And then sponsorships are no longer sponsorships. They're called activations. How many people know the word activation? It's interesting that it's not. It is the most important thing in marketing now is the word activation. And the fact our event world doesn't know enough about it is important to change that perception. Because the word activation means engagement. I mean, right? It's not that magical. And it's not what we do it anyway, but that's how they monetize it.